Are you struggling with getting your children to read or even remember the letters and sounds that they make? Are you starting to lose hope that they may not be able to read or that they're falling behind? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you some tips and some mindset strategies that are going to help you in this journey of teaching your child to read. Coming up. Hi, my name is Gabriel Perez, and this is the Dad Schooler YouTube channel. And the purpose of this channel is to encourage dads in taking ownership and leadership in their home and homeschool. A little bit about myself, if this is the first time we're meeting. My name is Gabriel Perez. I'm a husband, a father of 3 kids. My wife and I both work full-time jobs, and we both partner together in homeschooling our children. In addition to that, I'm also a biblical parenting coach for the National Center of Biblical Parenting. Also, if you're feeling you're needing a little more help or guidance, I would love to open up my calendar to you and have a 15-minute consultation to talk about what's going on in your home and how I can help. Click in the link below in the notes and you can find my schedule there and schedule a call. Question for the video: what is your child struggling with in learning to read? Let me know in the comments below. So I'm a part of a number of homeschool groups, and the number one thing that I've seen and heard that parents are reaching out about is help. My child is struggling with reading, or where should they be at this age, and I don't know what to do. They're not remembering the letters, and we just went over it. So many parents are struggling with this, with teaching a child to read. This is probably one of the hardest things that you can do in teaching your child, whether homeschool or not. Teaching them to read is a huge undertaking, and it's one that we see it. We know the value of reading, but it just becomes so overwhelming because we're looking for results. We're looking at the child and wondering, what do we have to do? We have to do this. And so in my journey, I've found a few things that really helped me in teaching my daughter to read. And so I want to share with you what I've learned, and I believe that this would help a lot of parents as I've shared this over the groups, and they found a lot of help in it, and also giving some freedom to you as a parent, some relief of guilt or shame. And even for the child, actually, even putting shame on the child. So the first tip I want to share with is, don't worry about them reading and release the expectation. Now, this goes to say that we have all been there, and I struggled for a long time trying to get my child to read. You know who worried more about it? Was it my child or me? It was me. And it was because I had expectations. It was because I was expecting my child to be at a certain level, and that's not always healthy. That isn't healthy. Yes, we want to help them get to where they need to be, but when we have expectations, it sets a level of pressure on the child that not only do they feel bad, but they feel like I'm not meeting my parents' expectations. They start to feel guilt and shame, and then it becomes harder for them to be open to learning, to be guided, and to be helped. Honestly, I have to share a story about this because in teaching my daughter to read, it was, I found I was starting to lose my own patience. And so I had to come and I had to ask her for forgiveness. I said, I'm sorry, I lost my patience. I just don't know what to do. Admitting failure and saying, what can I do to help you to read? Or it wasn't even just to help you to read, it was, what can I do to help you to learn? And she said, well, Dad, you're just supposed to help me. And it became so simple at that. I am just supposed to help her. That's it. I'm not supposed to make sure she has to be at a certain level or make sure she does this and this and this and this. I am just supposed to help her on her learning path of growing. As parents, let's be that help. Let's be that guide for them, and not necessarily the person who says, you have to get this done, you should be here, you need to be here, because ultimately I don't think it works. It didn't work for me. That helped me. It helped me refocus my plan as a parent and as a help to my child. And so that leads me to step number 2, stick to the basics. Stick to the basics. Stick to the basics. Stick to the basics. You hear that in football. Stick to the basics. It's very simple. I stopped where we were going. I stopped the reading program that we were on and said, okay, let's just go back to the basics. So I bought a bunch of little letter books and, just the simple books you can buy at the Dollar Tree or Target, A, B, C, and we did those. We went over and over and over again. And even though she knows these things, we just went over them. There wasn't a rush. There wasn't an agenda. It was just like, we're just going to stay here until we feel comfortable to move forward. And so we did. So we stayed there, and that's where we were. And it became a big help because there wasn't this pressure to be at a certain place. So for step number 3, don't feel rushed that they need to be a certain point in their reading by their age group. The question they always ask in the group is, what age should my child be reading? And the thing is it doesn't matter. When your child is ready, they will read. And I heard this one story at a homeschool convention, and it stuck with me. This mom had, I believe, 14 kids. Their husband and wife team had like 14 kids, some crazy amount of kids. And she homeschooled them all until she got, I think she had 5 kids before her 6. And then she was feeling pretty confident as a homeschooling mom, saying, I taught all my kids to read at 5. They were doing great. I know how to do homeschool. So she went in to teach her 6, and at 5, he wasn't getting it. And she was struggling, and she was getting upset. Like, why isn't he getting it? I'm a failure as a homeschool mom. What am I doing? And she was struggling to get him to read, and she found out he had a learning disability. And so, they worked with him in the learning disability, and he didn't end up reading until he was probably like 8. But guess what? That kid went on to go to Oxford University. He went on. It didn't delay him. It didn't hold him back. And so he was still able to learn. He just learned at his own pace. Step number 4 is the beauty of homeschool is we get to go at the pace of the child. We are not in a structured school format where, they have to be at this level. If they don't get to this level, they get left behind. As a homeschool, we have the choice to say, no, I'm going to teach my child where they're at, and we'll get there because that's our homeschool. It is your school. It is your choice. It is your program. It is child-led learning in a sense that we let the child go at his pace, and we get to teach the child for the way they learn. Not every child learns the same. Some child are visionary, some are not visionary. Some do well in a classroom, some don't do well in a classroom structure. So we get to see how our child learns and teach them in the best way as possible for them. So remember that as you're teaching your child, that you may have a curriculum that is teach your child to read in 30 days. It could work for 90% of the children, but it might not work for your child at that time. And so take a different approach. Take your time, look what your child needs, and remember, we're there to help. We're just there to help them and guide them. And last but not least is read out loud to them. Make it fun. Make reading something that they want to do. I like to read in different voices with my children. We read, if you give a mouse a cookie, I'll do a little clip.
If you give a mouse a cookie, he is going to ask for a glass of milk. And once you give him the milk, he'll probably ask you for a straw. He'll want the broom to sweep it up, and he'll start sweeping. And he might get carried away and sweep every room in the house. He may even have to wash in the floor as well. And when he's done, he'll probably want to take a nap.
I like to make it fun. So there's actually a desire for my child to read, that they want to go on and pursue the discovery of learning how to read so that they can read books for themselves and know what is in these pages that is going to help them. And so make reading fun, read out loud to them, and just read out loud to them with no expectation, except to have fun, to enjoy it, that it's a memorable experience for them. So I hope these tips help you. I hope they encourage you and they strengthen you in your journey, because reading is tough. Teaching your child to read is tough. And another homeschool mom said to my wife, because I remember when my wife was going through it with our oldest, she was like, this is really hard. And the other mom had 6 kids, and I guess 6 is the magic number of kids, but they're in high school now, and so she's been through, and she said, you know what, kindergarten through first is really like the hardest. That was for me the hardest years of homeschool, because you're teaching them the basic foundations of learning, and it's not easy. So give yourself some credit, give yourself some grace in this process, and just know it will happen for your child. It will come about. They will get it. Have patience, stay the journey, stick to it, and I hope this helps. And so we'll talk soon. Thank you. Also, if you find value, if you found this video valuable, I would appreciate if you would share it amongst your community of friends. If you know homeschoolers who are struggling in this area, I would love it if you could share this video and help get the word out and just encourage people in their homeschool and encourage dads to take leadership and ownership in their homes.